5 o'clock. We'd like to call our meeting to order. I know a couple of our colleagues will join us momentarily. So we'll go confirmation of minute for April 27 is the item K. Thank you. We do have a public delegation tonight, but we'll hold item number 1, but we'll go through our agenda first, and then we'll come back to item number 1. So we do have with us a couple of gentlemen today going to speak to us. And item number 1 is the chief verbal report. We'll hold the chief verbal report as well. Item number 2, the Byward Market Street Ambassadors Program 2014 Annual Report and Funding for 2015. Is the item carried? Thank you. Item number 3, the Canadian Associations of Police Governance Annual Conference, attendance and sponsorship. As you know, we'll be hosting this group next year in 2016, and our colleague Sandy Smallwood and myself will be attending the conference to invite them over to our city. So on the attendance item, Kerry? And also on item number 2, which is a funding of to cover a breakfast for the launching of 2016 conference. Item number 4 is financial status report, first quarter 2015. Is the item received? It's received. Thank you. Item number 5, outstanding board inquiries in motion for May 2015. Received. Thank you. Item number 6, we have letters of commendation is the item received? And we have adoption of bylaw. Item number 1, bylaw to amend the false alarm reduction bylaw of the Ottawa Police Service Board. This was in the budget, but since the budget got approved, the city budget, so this item we just basically we approve what's been approved in the budget. So is the item carried? Thank you. We'll go to item number 1. Item number 1, we have Mr. Gord Garner. Can you wave, tell us which one is Gord? That's Gord. And it's the Chair of Recovery Day Ottawa 2015, and Mr. Jason Miller, the Chair Community Addiction Peer Support Association. So welcome, gentlemen. I believe you do have a presentation for us.
So we do, and I understand we have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Nobody's told me what happens in the 6th minute, but we'll try not to get there. And so the Community Addiction Peer Support Association is the host agency for Recovery Day Ottawa. And you may not know what that's about, and of course that's why we're here. It's held right here in City Hall downstairs. We fill the room. And so one of the misconceptions about Recovery Day is that it's for people in recovery. It's for the city of Ottawa, and some of the people are in recovery. But the event's for the entire city. There isn't anybody that isn't affected by addiction in the city, doesn't know somebody. And if you don't know somebody, it's because they can't speak about it, because they're stigmatized by their illness. And so that's our mission. That's what we're doing, is breaking the stigma. And so we want to break the silence of the people in recovery, but we also want to break the silence of people that support them already in this community. So my job is fairly easy tonight. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything they're not already doing. We're just trying to open the doorway for the Police Services Board and the Police Commission to come out and show their support publicly, and of course the rest of the town. So we have some slides to show you some of the stuff we're doing. Jason presses the magic button. And so we're not alone in this. This says 19 cities. Actually, it's 25 cities now in Canada. And so that keeps growing every year. And so we have several goals. One is to celebrate the many pathways to recovery in our community. This is a one-solution disease, and so there's many pathways. We want the door open to everything. We want to foster hope for those who still suffer from the disease of addiction. One of the great problems in recovery is that people who get well disappear back in their lives, back in their jobs, back in the community, and nobody can say they were ever sick, so they can never say they ever got better. And so people that are suffering don't see well people who have the same conditions. Reduce barriers of stigma and discrimination directed towards those affected by addiction. The behavioral issues that come with addiction are not only difficult to deal with as a society, they're equally difficult to deal with as the people that are suffering. And so they self-stigmatize themselves. And so until that's understood to be a condition of the disease and an indication of the illness, we're going to treat it the way we've treated it, by pushing them away. Engage the broader community in support of addiction. And so when I say engage, this is it. Okay? And as I said earlier, I'm not trying to convince anybody. The conviction's already there. The doorway hasn't existed in the past, and so that's why we're here to open the doorway. Build a platform for dialogue and increase funding for new and existing services in our community. There was 8,000 people walked for breast cancer last year in Ottawa. And when I got a pink shirt and put on my pink shoes, nobody asked me if I had cancer. I didn't have to tell anybody I had cancer, but I'm doing well. I just got a pink shirt. And so we need to do that, and they raised $1.3 million. Last year we had about 500 or 600 people downstairs for Recovery Day. When you look at that relative to the population affected by addiction, the numbers don't make any sense. And so that's why we got a job, that's why we're doing this. Thanks, Jason. And so we have an award this year because we want to recognize that this has been happening in the community, and it's for commitment and perseverance in support of addiction recovery, and we have somebody that has won this award that we'll be presenting to on Recovery Day, and that's Ottawa's own Dave Smith, who has for decades and decades not only supported recovery from addiction, but all sorts of other illnesses and causes in this town, and so we see him as an example of an ally, and that's how these things work, is with allies. And so we have an ally campaign, and that's the way to engage the broad community and people like yourselves. So it's our pink T-shirt. It's our yellow T-shirt. It says, I'm a recovery ally. We don't identify through our illness. We don't identify whether you don't or do. We just say we support recovery. That opens the gateway for all sorts of people to get involved. So we have, one of the ways we're doing that is the selfie campaign. You hold up one of our signs, you take your picture, you post hashtag Recovery Ally, and we gather the pictures. And so far, just in the last month, we gained 250 faces in this community. And here's some of them, I think, next. So this is David Wilkes. He's a Conservative member and a former RCMP officer. And he stood up in the House of Parliament on March 12th and said he'd been sober for 26 years. And has introduced Bill C-674, which designates the last week of September as Recovery Week in Canada. And he's an ally. It's Paul Durr from Ottawa. He's an ally as well. There's Dave, and last year's Chair Dan Rothwell. These are people from Rideauwood. Mazan Fraternity. This is our new baseball team who's got a 2-0 record so far and has become winners by joining our ally campaign already. Just people walking down the street, leave garage sale, unknown people. Are you an ally? The answer is yes. Families. Serenity Renewal. We went out, we were invited out to a pastoral care committee meeting out in Bell's Corners, and we showed them our movie, The Anonymous People. And next thing you know, there we are, we're allies in church, they all bought shirts, and they're coming to the day. They didn't know about it until we went there, but as soon as you engage people, they become engaged because they're already involved. This is our engagement committee, and do we have any more? That's it. That's it. So what am I doing here after this is that I'm not in a position to know what this board can and cannot do, although I'm in a position to understand that you can utilize resources to support this, that you are allies already, and I would ask that you declare that and hold our signs and have your pictures taken. I ask that you use your resources to support Recovery Day and to engage the broad community. I'm not here to tell you how to do your job, but I'm suggesting that you're already in a position to do that. And we don't want to take more of your time than that. I think that's about 5 minutes.
Well, you did a great job, sir. So thank you very much. Thank you both for attending tonight and addressing the board. Any questions from my colleague? No, it's excellent work. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you. Now we go to the Chief's verbal report. Chief?
Chief, if I could, just before the Chief's report, our chair has just returned from not a holiday, but a nice trip, and he was in Lebanon, and the Ministry of External Affairs and Diaspora have recognized Eli for his work, and not only in the city of Ottawa, but for the work he has done with the Lebanese community in our city. And I think that's a great achievement, Mr. Chair, and congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, on behalf of the police service as well, Mr. Chair, congratulations. So good evening. I've got a number of updates for the board. I want to start by recognizing some great police work by our patrol, our break-and-enter, and our guns and gangs units. On May 13th, our patrol officers responded to a break-and-enter where numerous guns were stolen from a residence. The investigation led to the execution of 3 search warrants at residences in Ottawa and Gatineau. A total of 27 firearms, including rifles and several handguns, were recovered, as well as other evidence. And 4 people have been charged with a number of offenses as a result of this great investigation. And within days of the murder of 21-year-old Sharif Said on Trombley Road at the start of May, our major crime section made arrests. Khalid Mohammed, 26 years old of Ottawa, was charged with second-degree murder, and Abdulaziz Abdullah, of 28 years old of Ottawa, was also arrested and charged with accessory after-the-fact to murder. I also want to acknowledge the work of many members involved in supporting Ottawa Race Weekend. This year, over 49,000 runners took part in various races, and thousands more came out to cheer them on. Race Director John Halverson commented to those who gathered at a reception Friday night how impressed he was by the professionalism and support exhibited each year by our members. Congratulations to our planners, to the operations, our paid duty, traffic, volunteers, special constables, our senior officers and auxiliary officers, and our communications center for another successful race weekend. Recently, one of our officers, Constable Constable Conan, was involved in an investigation into an ongoing harassment of a 38-year-old man living with an intellectual disability. In addition to carrying out an investigation and following up with the offenders, who were 10 years old, Constable Conan decided to do something special for the victim. After taking the time to get to know the victim, Constable Conan found out he was a hockey fan. He then made arrangements for a dinner with the victim where he picked him up in his police car, gave him an Ottawa Senators t-shirt, and made arrangements for Senators player Chris Neal to come and surprise him. I know I speak on behalf of all members of the police service when I commend Constable Conan's professionalism, patience, and compassion. Earlier today, Public Safety Minister Stephen Blaney and Facebook Canada made an important announcement in our lobby at 474 Elgin relating to the Amber Alert system. In collaboration with police across Canada, Facebook will share Amber Alert information immediately after the alerts are issued. I think this is another great example of how public safety partners, private sector, get together and use social media to assist police in keeping our residents safe. Starting tomorrow, patrol officers will be joining Mac's convenience stores in an initiative called Operation Freeze. The initiative is about recognizing and reinforcing positive behaviors in our youth. Young people who are observed doing random acts of kindness or exhibiting positive behavior will be given a coupon for a free beverage at participating Mac stores across the province. Officers can use the coupons to recognize youth doing good deeds, participating in community activities, picking up trash, deterring crime, or observing school crossing rules. They can also be used as icebreakers to establish a rapport with a child in their patrol areas. On May 9th, as part of National Drug Take-Back Strategy, a prescription drug drop-off by the drug unit was held to encourage residents to dispose of old and unused prescription medication in a secure, environmentally friendly manner. It's an important initiative that raises awareness about the amount of prescription drug misuse. A total of 14 pounds of various medications and substances were seized and destroyed properly as a direct result of this initiative. The Association of Black Law Enforcers, or ABLE, its 23rd Annual Scholarship Award Ball was held in Ajax this past Saturday evening. The event was well attended by Ottawa Police Service members, with a total of 17 sworn and civilian members attending. And I'd like to make special mention to our Director of Community Development, David Snoddy, who received an award for 2015, and the recognition of his strong support for ABLE. And finally, this is a reminder that tomorrow we'll be joining members of the board at the 2015 Community Awards ceremony. I look forward to this opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate members of the public who have contributed to our community's overall safety. And I'm happy to take any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. And first of all, congratulations to you and your wife and being part of the marathon. And I'm not going to take the question from Member Smallwood. He wants to know who won, you or Linda. But I also want to say congratulations to Dave Snoddy on your award, sir. Well received, David. I know you work very hard in our community. Thank you. Chief, when you talk about the drugs, have you worked with the water treatment, like the water environmental at the city? Because this is one of their biggest concerns when people flush their medication through the toilet and goes to, and that's really very costly to the city to treat that water after it's been. Have you worked with the Dixon Ware, or do you think we can do something to join that initiative together, and maybe the city can do a little bit more publicity around it?
I don't know if we have worked with Dixon on this initiative, but certainly that's part of the campaign that along with the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, have said that the proper disposal method for drugs is not to flush them down your toilet or to throw them down the sink, to return them to the pharmacy or to use this day here as an opportunity to safely destroy them. So that's part of the publication campaign, but we certainly work with Dixon and his team to see what else we could do in partnership to continue reinforcing that message.
I know the city, they try very hard to engage the community on that file, but sometimes it's a challenge. But if we work together between the police and the city environmental group, I think will be worthwhile. Any other question to the chief on the report? On the chief's report, receive. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, just for the record, I know I beat Mr. Smallwood's time on the half marathon.
Oh, okay. I think Mr. Smallwood wasn't happy. The runner has to come across his house. So we do have in our agenda the communication for the Special Olympic Ontario. Before we receive this, I want to say thank you to our staff, and I know Deputy Keeley won somewhere on, I think, Tender Bay to be with the Special Olympics. I want to say thank you to all of you who participate in this and work together with the President, Jay McDonald, the President CEO of the Special Olympics. So I want to say thank you to our staff and to all who participate in this. On the communication, can we receive that Special Olympics receipt? Thank you. And that will conclude our public portion of the meeting. If we can have a motion to move on camera, moved by Member Nicholson. Yeah. Thank you very much, folks, and have a good evening.